Is there any fortune more enduring than a song that earns while you sleep? Paul McCartney is that rare artist. His music, from Yesterday to Hey Jude, became the soundtrack of a century. With a net worth in the billions, his empire spans grand estates, private jets, and priceless art. But beyond wealth, he is the living pulse of modern music, a man who turned grief into timeless anthems. Born in 1942 in Liverpool, Paul grew up amid post-war scarcity. His mother's early death left a void that shaped his soul and his music. His father, a jazz musician, nurtured his passion, teaching him that music was survival, not just art. At 15, Paul met John Lennon, another boy marked by loss. Together they turned pain into harmony, founding the Beatles, a fire that would change the world. Their journey was brutal. In Hamburg's grim clubs, they played marathon sets, surviving hunger, exhaustion, and jeers. "We played because if we stopped, we were finished," Paul recalled. Their grit forged legends. But tragedy struck again when Stuart Sutcliffe, their original bassist and close friend, died young. Yet from loss, McCartney built an empire. Songs that still echo through time and fortune. Stuart Sutcliffe, the Beatles' original bassist, chose art over music, but his spirit lingered in the band's early days. His untimely death left a wound deeper than losing a bandmate. It echoed Paul McCartney's own childhood loss of his mother. Suddenly, Paul inherited the bass, a role he didn't want, but transformed into a revolutionary voice that reshaped rock music. Out of grief and struggle, McCartney forged genius. The Beatles weren't just about talent. They were born from wounds, sleepless nights, and defiant resilience. Paul carried every loss into his music, turning every note into a bridge for generations. Yet fame came with a cost. After their manager Brian Epstein's sudden death, the band began to unravel. Tensions grew between Paul and John Lennon, and behind the hits like Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields Forever hid deep fractures. Then came the bizarre "Paul is dead" conspiracy, a painful reminder that fame could wound as deeply as loss. The Beatles' breakup in 1970 left Paul shattered. "The Beatles were my family," he said. Alone and lost, he struggled with despair and doubt, questioning if he could survive as just Paul McCartney. His first solo album, McCartney, recorded in isolation, was initially dismissed, but later hailed as a raw, honest rebirth. Through it all, his wife Linda was his anchor. Together, they created Ram, an album misunderstood at first but now seen as a fearless, inventive step away from Beatles nostalgia, a testament to Paul's enduring spirit and reinvention. After the Beatles, Paul McCartney formed Wings with Linda and Denny Lane, striving to build a new identity beyond Lennon's shadow. The journey was tough: lineup changes, harsh critics, and financial strain. Paul funded tours and rehearsals himself, constantly battling the myth of his past. Yet, Wings' breakthrough came with Mull of Kintyre, which became Britain's best-selling single, restoring both his artistic and financial footing. For Paul, music was more than success. It was his escape and survival. Behind the scenes, Linda McCartney was his rock, wife, collaborator, and mother to their children. Their bond was built on simple, real moments amid fame's chaos. But tragedy struck when Linda was diagnosed with breast cancer, the same illness that had taken Paul's mother. Her death devastated him, leaving a silence that seeped into every song and moment. Yet Paul transformed his grief into action, preserving her legacy through activism and music, showing love's power to endure beyond loss. Years later, Paul found unexpected hope with Heather Mills, whose energy reignited his heart after years of mourning. Their marriage marked a new chapter, a glimpse of healing and the courage to love again. Paul's hope grew real with the birth of his daughter Beatrice, a brief joy after years of silence. For a moment, he believed happiness could be rebuilt, but unlike his private love with Linda, his second marriage to Heather Mills unfolded under relentless public scrutiny. The tabloids tore their relationship apart, turning love into spectacle. Their bitter divorce was a painful public drama, leaving Paul hollow but resilient. He learned to survive without surrender, understanding love's fragility and necessity. After enduring loss twice, Linda's quiet death and Heather's noisy split, Paul found unexpected peace with Nancy Shevell. Their love came quietly, away from the spotlight, offering him balance and strength. With Nancy, Paul reclaimed the calm he had long sought, proving that sometimes the greatest courage is simply to love again, softly, steadily, and without fanfare. After decades of explosive fame, scandals, and triumphs, Paul McCartney's greatest victory wasn't measured in records or riches, but in finding quiet love and peace. His early years were marked by relentless pressure, loneliness, and struggles with substance use, culminating in painful public humiliations. Yet, through those shadows, Paul chose redemption, not through grand gestures, but by embracing silence, sobriety, and family. Paul McCartney's wealth and legendary status are woven into a mosaic of survival, treasured instruments that shaped history, homes filled with memory and love, and a life marked by loss and healing. From the grief of losing his mother and wife to the public storm of divorce and the burdens of fame, his story is one of enduring resilience. He transformed pain into art, scars into songs, and broken paths into homecomings. The true crescendo of his journey isn't the roar of stadiums, but the quiet grace of love rediscovered, the courage to rise after falling, and the peace found beyond the spotlight. Even his gleaming cars and estates hold ghosts of past journeys. They are more than wealth. They are witnesses. His empire is measured not just in billions, but in sanctuaries of memory, each loss turned into a lasting melody. "You never get over losing someone like that," he said of Linda. "Instead, you learn to live alongside the silence, a silence shaping his homes, choices, and legacy." Now, in the twilight of his life, Paul walks with quiet grace, a boy from Liverpool, a Beatle who changed a century, a husband who loved and lost, and an elder statesman whose music and spirit endure. With Nancy Shev by his side, love is no spectacle, just garden walks, shared laughter, moments of peace once feared lost. Yet memory lingers. The ghosts of Mary, Linda, John, and George still flicker in his eyes. "There are nights I reach for memories that feel like smoke," he admits, reminding us that even legends carry longing. Paul carries it well, body strong, spirit disciplined, mind sharp. The reckless youth laid to rest in love for family and self. On the road again with the Got Back tour, he reunites with generations united by timeless melodies. His latest album, a jewel in a crown of masterpieces, proves art born of truth never ages, and purpose has no retirement. Quiet philanthropy flows alongside music, supporting Earth, animals, humanity, and the next generation. His truest wealth lies not in possession but in generosity, in giving more than keeping. At 81, Paul McCartney is living proof that love rises from ashes, grief transforms into art, and music born of honesty outlasts time itself. He honors the past, embraces the present, and wonders quietly at tomorrow. If his songs have ever lifted you, comforted you, or awakened hope, this is your story too. For Paul's music is memory, the heartbeat of generations. The greatest legacy is not fame or fortune, but the power to turn sorrow into song and make strangers feel less alone. Leave a heart, say thank you, for this man's songs have carried us all. If you love Hollywood gossip, celebrity news, and all things star-studded, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you never miss an update. Also, drop a comment below